Gillian, good morning.
Good morning.
You newcomers have no idea what that means, but that's all right. Gillian asked me why I'd been a Rotarian for 60 years and why I joined Rotary in the first place. I was 24, I think, or 25. I joined because my father was a Toledo Rotarian, my grandfather was a Toledo Rotarian, my father-in-law was a Toledo Rotarian, and my grandfather-in-law was a Toledo Rotarian. I didn't think there was any other life. But I mainly have stayed a Rotarian, I think, because I'm so proud of what Rotary does, what I've witnessed it to do in the 60 years I've been here. It's absolutely amazing. Just to touch on a couple points, you're going to be sorry you asked me up here, but so I always tell stories. But I remember Toledo Rotary's 75th anniversary happened to coincide with the year that Rotary International announced their campaign for Polio Plus for their upcoming 100th anniversary. And everyone was assigned a quota, every club, as to what they were to kick in to kick off Polio Plus. And our goal was $85,000, which I thought was a hell of a lot of money, but you know, we do our best. And a group of us got together and we planned a gala dinner with speeches, same damn speakers, they're always up there at the same time, and a symphony concert. And we invited the world's most famous violinist, Itzhak Perlman. And Itzhak Perlman just happened to be the world's most famous polio victim. And that was a night. Instead of our goal of $85,000, that night alone we raised $285,000. That's why I'm proud of Toledo Rotary. Going right along with that, most recently, many of you remember the 100th anniversary of Toledo Rotary. We did pretty good. We spent a few years, raised over $300,000. Well, we raised $450,000 and to buy a park for the Metro Parks in downtown Toledo. Metro Parks never had a park in downtown Toledo, as you all know. And once they get done with the high-level bridge, they're going to build a beautiful park with shelter, running track, fishing piers, lunch for downtown workers. Fabulous place. That was our 100th. But then I got to go back to the beginning. Some of you newer members haven't heard this story. You older members will remember it. I have to tell you the story once again of Alva Bunker and Charles Fieldbach. In 1915, when Charles Fieldbach was president of the Toledo Rotary Club, the district nurses, by name Emma Roberts, brought to Rotary a young man she had found in an alley living behind the house of his drunken father. His mother had 12 kids, and Alva Bunker was born without any hands or feet. He spent most of his time in an alley on a skateboard he'd made with a roller skate and a piece of 1x6. He couldn't read or write. He's 14 years old. He couldn't read or write. He couldn't smile. He could barely talk. The Rotary Club took on this challenge, Charles Fieldbach in particular, took this young man up to Detroit to a hospital that could treat him and help him. And in 3 or 4 years, they outfitted him with arms and legs, taught him to read and write, taught him to smile. He never knew how to smile. And taught him to walk. And 4 years later, he walked into the Rotary Club of Toledo, Ohio, across the floor, climbed the steps up to the podium, and thanked the Rotarians of Toledo for what they had done for him. If that doesn't bring a little dampness to your eye, you're not human. But that one thing, that one young man and that one Rotary president started something that went around the Rotary world. Toledo Rotary adopted the theme at that point of serving the handicapped, the crippled children we called it in those days. And every other Rotary club in the world, of which there are, 35,000, their principal thrust of service above self is serving the handicapped. And it started right here in little old Toledo, Ohio. I think that's amazing. Not only that, this Toledo Society for Handicapped started in the Rotary Club here. The Ohio Society for the Handicapped started in Toledo, Ohio. The National Society for the Handicapped started in Toledo, Ohio. We now call it Easter Seals. That whole worldwide movement was started here by one crippled young man and a bright Rotary Club. I think that's amazing. I can change gears now and dry my eyes because I get moved every time I tell that story. Of course, you know the Rotary book, and I call it the Rotary book. The book we all got together. It turned out it was started by Walt McGee, who wanted somebody to liven up his first couple of meetings as president to tell a couple of history stories. Are you trying to get rid of me? I'm not done yet. So we put together a book. I wanted to put a bunch of Xerox copies of my talks on paper, with a staple in a corner, but Jeff Roberts would have none of it. We had a committee. We decided to put together a coffee table book, an expensive coffee table book, and we printed 10,000 copies, and I said, who the hell's going to ever buy one except our wives? But we've sold most of them, and we've raised somewhere in the neighborhood, I'm told, of $150,000 for the foundation through the profits from that book. And it was thanks to Walt McGee and his wife Julia, who did enormous amounts of work, and Debbie Monaghan, whose company with Steve put together the book and promoted it and put it in order. And of course, Jeff Roberts, who would have nothing but to make it a big, fancy book. And that book created a lifetime job for me in my senior years. I've given, believe it or not, over 600 talks on those history stories in that book. And I have sold Toledo Rotary in every one of them so that more and more people know what we do here. George Bernard Shaw, you remember, he said, where's Rotary going? And he answered his own question. He said, they're going to lunch. If you're a Rotarian that shows up when it's convenient for meetings, don't join committees, don't get active, don't participate in the Good Fellowship Foundation. That's what they used to call it. We call it the Rotary Foundation now. Maybe you're in the wrong place. I'm going to get in trouble for saying that. But he wore this pin. I'm about to get a new one. I've got several. Never go out without the pin. I don't care whether you're in Toledo or Perrysburg or Maumee or Seattle or Boston or London or Paris. When people see you with that pin on, they immediately make a judgment that you're a special person. You're a person that treats your community with service, that you're a leader in your profession or your business. It's an assumption that people make, and you will make more friends around the world and locally by wearing that pin. And also it'll get you out of a jam once in a while. So that's why I'm still in Rotary after 60 years, and I'm proud of it. I'm glad the good Lord kept me alive this long. But Kathy, where are you? Or Jim, see if you've got a 70-year plan, because I plan to get the next one. Thank you. you, dear.
Thank you.
Is that all right?
That was
I
good.
know it's long, but
That was okay.